What's going on, Landshark Nation? Victor Hubin here checking in. I got the beautiful Brooke Chris with me. And in today's video, we're actually starting an all-new series called Tackle Tuesday. So from here on out, we're gonna be doing tackle reviews, hooks, line, etc. Anything you guys wanna know?
And if you have any suggestions, let us know, comment down below, and we can make a video on it.
Okay, so in this week's Tackle Tuesday, let's talk about the FG knot. But first, I want to tell you guys why you should be tying this knot in the first place. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you how to tie the FG knot. Okay, so the first thing I really like about the FG knot is when you're going to go from your braid to your mono or fluorocarbon connection, at your knot connection, as you can see with the bottom knot right there, that's the FG knot, you're going to have a really thin profile connection. And it's going to be just slightly wider than the mono itself. As opposed to the knot on top, which is your uni to uni knot, it's a lot thicker and bulgier. And this is going to bring me to my second and third points. Okay, so this brings me to point 2. So as you can see, the FG knot has a really thin profile. I can take my fingers and rub it over there, and you don't really feel anything. It's just basically the diameter of the mono itself. So this is really good when you're fishing a top shot. Like let's say you're snook fishing off a pier and you need 20 to 30 feet of mono so you don't get frayed off. What it's going to allow you to do is you're going to actually be able to reel your FG knot connection all the way through your guides just like this with ease. There's not going to be any friction or resistance. It's not going to get stuck at your guides like the uni to uni knot will. So as you can see with the FG knot, it slides nicely right through the guides and it doesn't get stuck at all because it has that thin profile. And with the FG knot, you're able to tie your tag end super short and it's not going to slip. So see? It's just going right through, back and forth with ease. It's not going to get caught like a traditional uni to uni knot connection. Now I'm going to show you guys the uni to uni knot connection. Okay, so unlike the FG knot, your uni to uni knot is going to get stuck right at your guide tip and through your other guides because you have that long tag end from the uni to uni, and that's not an ideal situation because if you have a big fish on and it's gonna get stuck at your guide tips, you're gonna either end up breaking your guide or snapping your line right at that connection because it's not able to go through because it keeps getting stuck at that tag end. The FG knot thin profile allows you to effectively reel your FG knot or reel your braid to mono connection through your guides, unlike this knot right here. Okay, so this brings me to point 3 now. So with my FG knot, I'm actually going to be able to fish a really long leader or a top shot. So let's say I need to have 20 to 30 feet of mono on my reel, on my braid to mono connection. I'm going to be able to reel it all the way through because of that thin profile. So I can actually go reel right onto my spool and it's not going to get stuck at all. So I just reeled about 15 feet of line and my FG knot is actually in that spool right there. And it's super duper slick, so you're not even gonna feel it with your fingers. It's not gonna cut you up like a traditional uni to uni would. See, it's sitting right there, and as it comes back off the spool, it's gonna come off nice and smoothly, right through the roller, had no problem going through the roller, and it's gonna have no problem going back out through your guides, because that super thin profile goes right through. It's as if there was nothing there. There's basically no tag end. Okay, so there's actually a fourth point I really wanted to go over with the FG knot. It's actually the strongest braid to mono or braid to fluorocarbon connection you can possibly have. The guys over at Salt Strong actually did a study where they tested out 4 knots from your braid to mono or braid to fluorocarbon connections, and the FG knot came out on top at every single test. That link will be down in the description below. So now let's get to tying the actual knot. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to tie the FG knot. So I have my braid right here, which we're actually using cord from Brooke's art box from like 6th grade right now. I have it facing towards the rod tip right there. So your braid, let's say your rod tip's down there, you want to have tension coming from your rod tip to over here. And I'm going to use my teeth for the video, so if it sounds a little mumbled, that's why. Okay, so I have my tension, like I said, going towards my rod tip right there, and I have my mono. I'm going to come on one side, and I want to show you guys this angle so you guys can see it as if you're doing it yourself. So I have my mono on one side. I'm going to go underneath my braid, just like that, and I'm going to get a nice little ring, just like that, and it's going to be nice and tight. I'm going to go on the other side of my braid underneath, and it's going to do that again. And I'm going to keep repeating this, and every time I do this, I want to make sure I'm pulling my braid tightly onto my mono, because if you have any loose connections, you have a chance of your FG knot slipping. So as I'm doing this, under once on one side and another, and then under once, and then another side. So what you're essentially doing here is you're wrapping the braid onto your mono, and it's cinching tighter and tighter and tighter onto your mono. And you're going to do this for about, I'd say, 20 wraps. That's a good rule of thumb. If you guys want to feel more confident in your knot, the more wraps you do, the better it is. It's just a little bit time consuming. So as you can see, every time I'm doing this, I want to have tension in my mono and tension in my braid. And I have these nice tight wraps. You want to make sure you have those tight wraps, otherwise the knot's not going to work. It's the #1 mistake people make when they're tying their FG knot. Okay. So now that I have enough wraps, now here's the second thing you're going to do. Okay, so there's the end of my wraps right there, and I'm going to take my mono, I'm going to align it with my braid facing towards my rod tip. And I'm going to take the tag end of my braid, and I'm going to do 1 half hitch, just like this. And I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to pull it right onto my wraps. And I'm going to really make sure I get a lot of tension in there, because that's going to be the very first half hitch you do, and it's going to be the most important one. And now you're going to want to repeat this at least, a lot of people say only 3 times, but I do it about 5 times, because I feel like these half hitches are really important in making sure your FG knot doesn't come untight. So as you can see, here's my braid tag end right here. Here's my mono tag end. And I'm going to just keep aligning my mono tag end with my braid that's facing the rod tip. And I'm going to keep doing these half hitches just like this. You guys got to make sure you have a lot of tension when you're doing these. Pull them super, super tight. Okay, so now that I'm going to do, that was 4. This is going to be right around 5. Okay, I pulled those super tight. And now one last important thing you do. Before you finish and before you cut these tag ends right here, I want you guys to take your braid facing the rod tip, so your braid on this side and your mono on this side, and I want you to pull it as tight as you can, just like that. Because what you're doing is, as the mono pulls on one side and your braid pulls on the other, these wraps right here actually get tighter and tighter onto your mono, and this half hitch makes sure that it can't slip through. Okay, so if you guys tied your FG knot nice and secure and you made sure your half hitches and rings were tied good, you can take your tag end from your mono and you can cut it to the very, very edge of your braid. Just make sure you don't nick your braid. So you can have even a smaller tag end than that I did right there. And then you can also do the same thing with your braid. So you cut it as possibly close as you can to the connection. And then there's your finished product. So I used a bit heavier mono and cord to demonstrate for you guys so you can see it in action. But this is actually a really thin profile knot. This is a 150-pound test, so if it looks big, that's the only reason why. But this is what it should look like in the end. You have those coils right there, and then you have your half hitches right there, and then you basically just have the tag end of your mono right here. So this is going towards your leader this way, and this is going towards your rod tip that way. And if you really want to test out your knot, tie your hook or something to a pole or some kind of structure and pull as hard as you can. And if this holds, your knot's going to hold. This is one of those knots where the tighter you pull, the more it's just going to cinch down on itself. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this week's Tackle Tuesday, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure to comment below, and if you guys have any suggestions for future videos, let us know. Don't forget to subscribe and like the damn video.